I've been doing research for over the last 20 years. And when I started my career in research, I didn't know where it would take me. And it took me to prison, where I did longitudinal research that helped create rehabilitation programs for inmates. It took me to operating rooms, where I observed how new technology affects the way surgeons do their surgery and how it affects the entire environment in the operating room. It took me to Seattle and the world of business technology, where I work right now. And one thing that I've learned in my over 20 years of doing research is very often we think about research quality as it applies to research outcomes. It's all about outcomes. We want to bring really deep and rich insights to our team. However, what I discovered through my personal journey is in research, the journey, the road to the results you're getting is as important as the destination itself. How you get those results, how your entire team and your customers participate in those, in this research, it defines what you're getting in the end. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about today. How can we get better understanding of our customers through some things that might be already familiar with you and potentially, hopefully, some inspirations. Would you rather be in this room or in that room? Would you rather read this deliverable or participate in that discussion? The thing is, to me, is that as we hire more researchers to our organizations, as we advanced our user research and customer research capabilities, very often we're perfecting the science of customer research, forgetting that both sides are human, that our customers are human as much as our teams are human. And we need to have that truly human approach to be successful. So in reframing, I was thinking, what if we stop treating customers and teams as passive participants, because that's how we call our customers. They are participants of our research. And when we invite our engineers to watch our user sessions behind the glass door, they are participants of that study. And instead, started treating them as active collaborators, as people who are actually shaping the research, not just consume it and not just give us what we ask them to do. So I'm going to talk about two parts today. Part one is what we can do to engage our customers, and part two, what can we do to better engage our teams. How about we start with customers? Why it's important to engage customers and treat them as active participants, not just active collaborators, not just passive participants. Because guess what? We are all competing for top talent. We all want our teams to be creative, forgetting that we have hundreds of thousands, sometimes of millions, of customers who have their own creativity, and we can easily tap into their creativity to supplement the creativity of our team. We don't have to be there. We don't in the space of innovation by ourselves. We can use our customers for that. And actually, the lesson I learned was from my now 7th grader, that he was in 6th grade, my son Devlin. When he was 5th grade, he was all into magic, and he came home one day and said, "Look, let me going to show you a magic trick, and I'm going to prove you that I knew your answer ahead of time. So how about I have one volunteer from the room to help me show you the magic trick? Go." Hi, Paul. So what we have here is, describe what you see here on the chair, for those who don't see. Don't tip it, just so it doesn't fall.
I see a blue rectangle of a Lego wafer, and then I see a green square of a Lego wafer, and I see a red rectangle that's sort of in between the two.
And now you have the very magic wand. And what I ask you to do is, it goes the other way around, of course, is just close your eyes for a second, think about it, and then point to the block that feels most compelling to you. Boogly, 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 boogly. Oh, it's green. It's green. OK, how about you reach into my right pocket, Paul? No, put it.
I feel the microphone.
OK, take it out. I'll take the microphone out. Now, oops. Magic? How did I know? It matches the color. Now, how did I know that Paul would pick green? Any?
My hypothesis?
Your hypothesis.
When there's 3 options, the one in the middle is a pretty good guess.
OK. Any other options? Yeah.
If he would have picked another color, he would have said, reach into my other pocket.
Paul, can you please reach into my other pocket?
There's nothing in there.
Anyone else?
It's the biggest piece.
It's the biggest piece. Who else?
Color green is perceived as positive.
Color green is perceived as positive. Well, the true answer is no. Actually, no. The true answer is, what if I give you a clue? Think outside the box. It's very obvious.
The middle.
Huh? It's the middle one. No? OK.
Different shape than the others?
The different shapes than the others. The truth is that I didn't know the answer. And almost there, almost there. But what happened is I had 3 completely different answers. So had it been red, I would have said, Paul, can you please open the magic wand? Ooh, the magic wand pointed you.
That's the same as the other pocket.
It's almost, right? But there are 3 options. I only have 2 pockets, right? Bram. And had it been blue, I would have said Luke. I have 1 mark for you in advance. The point is, very often, thank you so much, Paul. Very often, when we do customer research, we have our own understanding. We come prepared with discussion guides. We ask questions. And the moment we ask the first questions of our customers, we set them on a particular way of thinking. We get them in the box, and we get ourselves in the same box. So how can we unbox ourselves, and how can we help tap on the creativity of our customers while still getting the outcomes that we want, and while still getting the answers to the questions that we want? How many of you have played or heard about innovation games before? No? Good. We are in for a treat now. So let's play another game. I call it My Cup of Coffee. And we all drink coffee drinkers, tea drinkers, hot chocolate drinkers, and other drinkers. Let's think about it. If you're designing an ideal cup for whatever is your hot beverage of choice, what features would it have? 30 seconds. What features would it have?
Big handle.
Big handle.
Insulated.
Insulated.
Round.
Huh?
It's round.
It's brown.
Round.
It's round.
Holds a lot.
It holds a lot. OK, so we'll obviously have some ideas of what features would it have, and if I can continue an interview, and if I did some contextual observations in your home, and if I want to ride, I would have an idea of what your existing cup of coffee is like, and maybe how a cup of coffee I'm thinking about or designing a cup would fit into your environment. Let's do it slightly different. You all have cards in front of you. There's three colors: red, green, and blue. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you features one at a time, and you will show me green card if you accept the feature as is. It's a fantastic feature, you want it, green card. If you reject the feature, no, it's bogus feature completely, I don't need it, put a red card up. And if the feature that it's something in it, I want to transform it, I don't want it in the way it's presented, but I want to change it somehow, put up a blue card, OK? Red, green, blue. OK, let's go. Ready? Go. Extra insulation. A couple of reds, mostly greens. OK. Spoon holder. Okay, lots of reds and a couple of greens. Okay. Self-cleaning. Green, 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 green. Wow. Now we need to figure out the tech behind it. Oops. Solid wood. Red, red, blue, blue. USB port. Green, red, blue, blue. Okay, I think so far, let me stop here. So far, I've seen the most blue cards here. For those of you, hold your blue card and let us know, how would you transform that feature? Why it's not yes, why it's not no, why it's transformed. Anyone? Do you need a mic?
It's unknown what the USB port does.
Okay, but it's not a no.
No, if it does specific things, it would be interesting, such as, will it heat it?
Okay, will it hit it? Thank you. Someone else?
It's a value add feature because I need to charge a lot of things. So
It's a value add because I need to charge a lot of things. So what if my extra hot coffee can actually charge my phone that's about to die? Interesting. Someone else who was blue? Kit, you were blue? No?
I think I was red.
Yeah.
So if I'm a Mac user, so I would prefer just to use a magnetic connector because it may tend to be spilled if I grab on the cable if we're going to really use it. So I'm more after the safety of this cable.
Okay, so safety magnetic connector. Anyone else? Okay, let's go next one. Integrated speakers. Well, Alexa, Echo, here we go. Starbucks, Seattle, right? Better together. No, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have. Oops, how about ingredient detector? That your cup knows what you are drinking and how much alcohol units are in your coffee. No. Blue, okay, why blue? How would you transform that?
So that could be potentially useful in scenarios like if people have allergies or people have dietary restrictions, so that potentially useful because I guess you make that decision before you put it in the cup.
Okay.
Some way to make that a factor in your choice about what you're going to do with that beverage.
Cool. How about fingerprint scanner? Red, red, red. Ooh, no one wants to have their own private cups anymore. Green, Mariana, okay. How about it has a plug? Red, red, all reds, no, okay. Anti-tip technology. It doesn't tip. Green, oh, okay, I see those computers in the room, yes. It's green. Integrated cookie holder. Okay, red and green, half and half, and one blue. How would you transform that?
maybe put some sugar cubes,
Okay.
that you want to carry with you, the sugar packets.
Okay, how about self-steering mag? Red, green, red, green, red. Okay. So what did you notice about the game? Were there any interesting moments for you? Yes, Paul.
Blue moments, right? That idea of like, well, what would you do with that, or what would you do that might make it better?
Yeah.
It's just more interactive.
It's more interactive. So this is a version of the game that's known as outrageous features innovation game, and the purpose of the game is to introduce that features that you know not going to end up in your product, but by pushing the boundaries and by pushing them really, really far, what you get is, yes, I don't need this feature, but I need that idea. I need this idea of continuous heat. Right? I need that idea of, oh, I need something to charge. It may not necessarily be a cup of coffee, but of what if something that when your coffee goes with you that. Maybe it's something else. So those outrageous features that you know not gonna ship, they help that get people outside of the box of their normal thinking of what they do. Because we mentioned some of those features when I asked you to name what you want, yet we didn't mention anything like continuous hit or something like that, right? So it gives you an idea, directional of idea of what the users might need. And it's particularly useful game to play where you explore hidden user needs in environments that's difficult to observe, because sometimes we cannot be there observing our users as much as we can. So short of that, we can do that. This is one of the few books I have on my bookshelf, and actually it lives in my backpack with all these bookmarks. It's called Gamestorming. It's a fantastic book for you to get insights and inspirations about really all-purpose innovation games, from those that can be played in 20 minutes to those that can be played for the whole day. And the whole purpose of innovation games is to provide that fun, insightful, and engaging way to understand customer needs, where you really need to get customers relax, and sometimes it's difficult for them to conduct interviews, especially if you're working in situations where they're not easily you need to prime them to be relaxed and answer your questions easily. And innovation games can really be used in any phase of product development. They can help you understand who is your customer. They can help you understand what's their problem, why do they need certain things and why, and also how to build it. And very often when I introduce the idea of innovation games, I hear, oh, but you know, my customers won't play it. Or executives or serious business people won't play. So the woman in this picture, she's a VP of HR of a Chinese subsidiary of a really large global energy management company, right? So you have as traditional businesses, you have as high executives as you can go, and the culture that's not attuned to playing games. And she played, and everyone plays after a while. You should start, because it's a human nature. It's in our human nature to have fun and to do interesting stuff. A couple of other things, a couple of other games we played at Smartsheet with our customers. We all do feature prioritization with our customers, where we do them usually on a scale 1 to 5, how much do you need and how critical is the feature to you. Or we do stack rank certain things and functions attribute. We took a different spin, and when we had our customer conference last year, we played buy-you feature games. We broke up customers into teams, like sitting around the table. We gave each team $100, and we gave them a list of 25 or 23 features and said, you have to agree or you have to buy, spread your budget across those features, right? What do you need to buy? What do you want us to develop in the next year? What was interesting about that game is the amount of money they assigned to a specific feature gave us much richer information than just a usual stack ranking prioritization or the Likert scale, how critical it is to you. Because when we gave them $100 and they put 20 on one feature, it means something. And they put 2 on another feature, right? It's not necessarily a 10th degree of that, but you can see the difference. Also, what was important, because we actually discussed whether we put customers of similar profile in one group or customers of different profiles in the same group. We went with customers of different profiles, because there was something in this game for them as much as for us. We got the outcomes, we got our scores. What they got, because they had to negotiate, they had one family budget to spread. Then what would happen, like, oh, I really want to put $20 on this feature, someone would say. And so like, why? What does it do? I have no idea what the feature is. And then they would explain why they use certain features, the value, and everything else. So we're just sitting there taking notes, right? How they explain the value of our features to each other, how they educate each other. So it's not our sales pitch. Hey, you need this feature because know how awesome it is. It's them talking to each other and them engaging with each other. And they love those sessions because they saw those sessions as learning from their peers and being more authentic than us just pitching how awesome our product is. Another example we also played, it's called Love and Breakup Letters. We played at our customer conference, but I also use it very often in user research before interviews. So the idea is, It's especially interesting if you are researching how your customers move from one product to another, or if you're changing different versions, or you're trying to understand your new customers, or you're trying to understand customers who might have left you for someone else, right? So transition periods are really good to understand through that exercise. And the exercise is about write a love letter to a product or something that you like. Express yourself. You just moved from AT&T to T-Mobile, for example, right? 2 months ago. Write a love letter to, well, I don't know, one of them, right? Presumably you moved to T-Mobile, so you like something about T-Mobile. Write a breakup letter to AT&T. What was wrong? Why do we need to spin it this way rather than simply ask what was wrong with AT&T, what's right with T-Mobile? Because 2 things. People do it at their own time, and that's why I use, this is actually examples of homework I give customers before interviews, because they can get into the subject, they can start thinking into the subject at their own time. I prime them ahead of time, and they express themselves easily because they're just between them and a piece of paper, not just between them and me feeling like I'm putting them on a spot. Also, it helps me understand who they are, because it's unlike conversation that can be more rational. When you talk to customers face-to-face or over the phone in real time, this is where they express their emotions. And sometimes really that nitty-gritty emotions that they want expressed to you in person, they express through those letters. Also, it's a fantastic tool if you ever, for quotes, either to your executives or someone else, testimonials, this is perfect. If they ever write a love letter to your product, make sure they sign consent form that you can use research materials and all your marketing materials, because this is the true voice of your customer, not the voice of customers through charts and graphs and wonderful reports that we like to create, right? And it also was very engaging because my team hosted Alaska Airline research team a short while after we did the conference, and we talked to them about that. And they had, oh, what is a fantastic idea. We have those public spaces at airports. We can just distribute cards and say, guys, write a breakup letter to the airline you don't like. Write a love letter to any airline you like. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be my airline. But that's how I learned what customers, their emotional connection and emotional attachment to different products. How do we engage teams? And why do we engage teams? Engaging broader teams, and by broader I mean not just UX teams, not just product teams, but your entire engineering teams, your entire organizations, even people who do your accounting and finances, people who run the business. It's really important to engage them in active learning because it makes insight richer and empathy deeper. Couple of ways we have been doing in Smartsheet. So any company that's growing, or any company that's already large, and any company that's customer-centric or wants to be customer-centric suffers from the same thing. We have multiple pockets of customer-facing people in our companies. Sales has one information, customer success has another information, UX has a third way of looking at the customers, marketing a fourth, everything else. So we do, I was trying not to use that metaphor, but it's probably the best one, is we do hold different pieces of the same jigsaw puzzle. The question is, how often do we put them together? And how often do we get together literally in one room, physical or virtual, to share our knowledge on a particular topic? So the question on the left is, the first thing we started when I joined Smartsheet last year is we're trying to figure a Smartsheet buyer's journey. How people go from first learning about Smartsheet, understanding what the company does, to actually buying a license. And we were really short timeline. My team was brand new to the company. We had no idea what we're doing. And the first thing we said, okay, there are people in the company who probably know something, right? Let's get them together. So people we have in this room is our top strategic salesperson, our strategic customer success person, company founder, and VP of product at the time, head of consulting. Right, so they all knew something about buyers. They all met those Smartsheet buyers in different times in the buyer journey. Someone met them before they bought Smartsheet, someone met them after they bought Smartsheet, and they were surfacing them out. So when we got together as a team on that very particular subject, it's not just what do you know about our customers, but what do you know on the subject of buyer's journey specifically, we got a lot. We got so much knowledge that we were able to redesign our website shortly after that, right, in a very short amount of time. Now, obviously, this does not replace secondhand, it's still secondhand. This does not replace real customer knowledge. However, what it does, it allows me and my team to focus our research on the true knowledge gaps, on something that the company doesn't already know, because why would I reinvent the wheel? Why would I try to scale up my team as opposed to learning what others already know? Also, this is such a huge team building exercise. This is what people love about it. It's more than, again, the journey is better, sometimes more important than the destination. Getting people together, I was surprised, because we were still a small company at the time, under 500 people, that they don't talk to each other as often as they want to. And they definitely don't talk to each other on the very specific subjects of whole buyer's journey. So the whole culture, if you really want to create customer-centric culture, get people in the same room. Your people, not the customers. Start with them. This was really interesting. Another method we use at Smartsheet, we do 1 week UX sprints, where we need to do a lot of things in a week. We do customer research, and then we do prototyping, then we do first level of concept testing, all in a week. This one a big sprint we did for onboarding. How do we design our product onboarding experience? So there are 11 people in this picture, 9 of them come from different disciplines. Director of web strategy, training, demand generation, research, product marketing, development, design, product management, all together, because it was important for us to listen what others know, but it was also important for us to have this discussion in one room. Another example is, another point I want to get across, bring teams to meet with customers. Bring your engineers to see your customers. Your engineers have to talk to your customers, not just watch them behind the glass. They actually have to have real human interaction. And in this picture, Mariana, who is in the room, she's our QA manager, was with us on customer visit. And the guy on the right is our developer. It worth every penny, and I know development time is very expensive, but it worth every penny to do. This one is also interesting, is we want to think, the researcher wants to think that we're kind of some special, and research is a very special skill. You need to have masters or PhD, in order to be able to talk to people. And God forbid my engineer actually talks to people. And God forbid my engineer ever runs usability tests, because guess what? You're gonna screw it up. They're gonna screw it big time, because they're introverts, they don't know how to talk to customers, and then they're gonna just tell customers how their feature work, and that's it. Step back. Engineers are people. They know how to talk to other people. They're adults, and they actually want to learn. So in this picture, again, I'm using pictures from customer conference we did last year. We had 1,000 people, 1,000 customers attending our customer conference last year, 2.5 days. My research team is 5 people, including me. So 1,000 people, 2.5 days, 5 researchers, over 550 concept testing sessions. I don't know if we've broken the Guinness record yet, but I'm determined to break it this year if we have 2,000 people in attendance and run 1,000 sessions. How did we scale? We scaled because we put our engineers on the ground and we said, guys, this is your feature, you're developing, and you're testing it. This is probably, if there's one thing that you can implement tomorrow in your company, regardless of where you work, I would say remember this. Share customer insights relentlessly. And don't make them your own business. So when I say that I I had research at Smartsheet. I don't own research. My team doesn't own research. If everyone tells me like, oh, but you are the owner, like, no, I don't own research. Moreover, very often I don't even do research. What I'm trying to do is I try to facilitate, not research, but I try to facilitate customer understanding happening within the organization. My role is not to deliver you, my role is to facilitate your active learning. That's how I see myself, and that's how I see my teams. It's your active learning, and it's customers' active learning. So what you see here, what we do, we call them customer insight sessions, and this is kind of a very simple recipe. Every week, Monday lunchtime, the entire company is invited to the session. It happens every week. Share customer insights across the company. There are two things. Everyone can attend. That's a basic rule. Regardless of where you are, you're a janitor, you can attend. You're in finance, you can attend, right? You're in development, you can attend. Typically, on any given week, up to 10% of the company actually attend. That's a lot. So if we have nearly 1,000 people in our company, 80 to 90 people tune in, either in person, like in this room, or remotely, right? So just to show you who these people are. CFO, sitting next to product trainer, sitting next to program manager, content developer, sitting next to head of customer connections, a few people on customer success, designer, PM, sales engineering, consulting. Developers tend to sit back at the back, right? And so on. And it's really good for people to get together, because when you hear the same thing in the same room, and a product trainer and I see of probably relatively lower level sitting next to CFO and they're discussing a particular customer, that means something to company culture. It's not just about the insights, right? So another ground rule is everyone can present. It's not ours. It's not just to raise your hand if you know something about the customers, wherever you've done session, call, site visits, something, raise your hand. I have something, BI, I have something I want to present. So over the course of, we've now done more than 50 sessions, because we've been running it for over a year. We had presenters from sales, UX, PM, marketing, engineering, customer success, interns, and even execs. So the guy in the top right picture, he is my poster child, our SVP of engineering, who came and talked about customer visits and customer insights he got. Because really interesting, he talks, because he's a C-level executive, he talks to other C-level executives, people to whom I don't talk to, and people where our customer success people don't talk to these executives. So he gave a fantastic presentation, not only just what he learned from the top, but also how to conduct those conversations. If you happen to be in front of C-level executives, this is what you need to do. So it was a really interesting coaching sessions. And another final point is, it works so much better when the teams who are sharing insights in a particular session were a cross-functional team. So if we just come say, hey, here's the UX, this is what we did. That's good. Oh, here is customer success, this is what we did. In the bottom picture, again, there are 6 people there. They present 4 different disciplines. Right? And that when people come together and do the same presentation coming from different parts of the company, that makes it really, really strong. And some quotes, well, having water for you, of how important to have that place, to have that space where people across the company can come together and learn about the customers. And you know what? People who run finances, people who run operations, even our HR receptionists, sometimes they show up as well, because people who run the company, they care about customers as well. And this is their way to learn. Our executive assistant to our SVP of product shows up almost like every second time there, because that's her only way to feel connected to the customer. And with that, I want to say that everyone wants to be part of something great. And where you are creating that environment where people can learn from each other and they can be inspired, they do want to be part. And guess what? When we do something like that, engaging other people, I don't have to sell. I don't have to ensure buy-in. I don't have to spend my time on thinking how I would frame my outcomes. Sometimes I don't even have to spend my time on doing my deliverables at all. Because as an organization, we have this knowledge. We've been there on the same journey together. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do, if you have questions, I have two awesome colleagues. Come on, help me. To take Q&A from me. Mariana and Keith. And Mariana is employee number 17 out of 1,000 that we have. And she's our QA manager. And Keith is employee number 114. And so they've been around for a while at Smartsheet. And Keith has our UX team. Do you want to start with a story about Chris Boba and the video that we saw?
Chris Boba. So when Lada told me her idea about having developers moderate some of the usability testing, especially with something so near and dear to me, which was getting feedback on a redesign, I asked her, "Are you crazy?" Like, no. But she convinced me. I did feel a little bit better because in that slide, Jeff, a researcher, was there. But at one point, there were 2 developers and no researchers around. But it was so magical because I had been spending so much time trying to convince the developers to build a certain feature, and there was so much pushback. And Chris saw for himself after talking to dozens and dozens of users that day. After his time was up, we were heading back to the office, and he said, "Oh wow, we really have to help these people. We really need that feature." I was like, yes, thank you, Lada. You just saved me hours and actually weeks of trying to convince a developer to do the right thing by our users. So it was magical.
Well, Mariana is a story because we did lots of research. And Mariana earned at the conference, and Mariana earned our title of UX Hero of the Month because she did research better than some of the professional researchers they had on the team. And Mariana shows up for, well, almost every customer insight hour. What's in it for you?
For me, I've always been passionate about the customer experience. And we look at that from a QA perspective. We're testing the flows to make sure that it actually works as we expect, because when you design, you don't necessarily always have that same flow. And so I found, like, with the engineers, there's a lot of people that actually have experience in customer service through other venues, and it's just fun to actually tie those people and how they use things to what's going on, and to have a better understanding so that we can put input into the design early, because it really does save time if you're designing effectively and without this kind of UX testing, and also the people on your team being involved in understanding how important it is to the customer, and not just that we're trying to get, very linear thing, like we want to accomplish this, right? It's not enough of that. We have to make sure we're doing it right.
So what I hear sometimes is that, engineers A, they're too busy, B, they don't like being in front of people, and everything else. So what's a good approach to engage engineers who might not be warm and fuzzy to be engaged immediately?
I think last year was our first user conference, and I think there was some things that help in that. I know Lada had some sessions ahead of time to set expectations so people would be comfortable and not have to go out and try to sell, or just clarifying those things, that they don't have to have the right answer, and all of these kind of things made them comfortable. And I think also there's a little aspect of some of the people are really good communicating with people and finding out, and those people are really good people to evangelize, to talk and encourage other people to join in. So if they're a part of the team and the experience, those that were reluctant to do it were super excited afterwards and felt like they learned a lot. And honestly, to that conference itself, the customers connected so much. I've never seen that in a business setting before. It was phenomenal. So they could see the authenticity of the company and the people in it, and they were inspired and knew that we love them and we wanted to do the best for them. So I know it's weird to say we love our customers, but we do.
There was another thing that was helpful, I think, for the developers during those testing sessions, because we were very prepared. Lada had trained them, quickly, on some pointers, but also they had scripts, we had prototypes, and it was easy for them to just follow along at first to get until they got over their nerves, and then they could ad lib. But that was very helpful. And then, ever since then, to hear developers in product team meetings say, well, what do users say? Or did you do research? And for developers to be asking for that is also another wonderful outcome of that.
And I will say, too, there was an extremely complex feature that we were trying to deliver, which is essentially like database concepts. How do you deliver that to a user and make it easy for them to decide what to do? And that project, we went through a path of trying to do something to make it happen, but even internally, no one could understand like how to use it. It was so much disparity. And so to be able to have UX come in and stop the train and retest and totally think outside the box to come up with something that would work in a very short time frame was tremendously valuable.
I want to make sure that you have time for your questions.
Hello, my name is Joe Meister. I'm the Communications Director for Institute for Systems Biology. We're a nonprofit research organization in South Lake Union. A lot of what you talked about has to do with product development and actual products. What advice do you have when your product is information, when your audience is unknown, and how can we what are some takeaways from what you've learned that you can maybe suggest for a different, for the nonprofit when it is information rather than an actual physical product? How, are there any similarities or any common threads that I could take away?
The universal approach to designing, wherever you're designing product, services, messaging, information, is iterate often and test everything. So we started testing value propositions. We started testing messages on our website, right? And originally we started testing, okay, here's what we think that our value props are. Here's what the messaging on the site. How does it test? More and more, however, we lean towards is, well, we're still boxing people, right? We're still boxing, hey, this is what we want to put on the website. So listening and teasing out that the language our customers speak, and those love letters and hate letters, we got them all scrubbed. Yes, we don't have all the pictures, but this is what we are putting on our website as testimonial. This is the language, and watching for the language, how they describe. One of my favorite exercises, especially when I just joined the team and started running it, is Smartsheet is a very complex product. In a sense, it's difficult to describe what it is because it's like this but not that. It's like that but not that. It's a hybrid of many different existing concepts. So instead of us trying to describe what it is, it was like, what's in it for you? How would you describe it? So turning the table and listening to your customers and what the language, the specific terms, we might agree or disagree with them, but hey, that's their terms. And ultimately, if they're getting the message, it's like, I'd rather speak in their language than in my language. So anything that can be put through the same process. Yes.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm work in marketing for Remitly, which is an international money transfer company. And so I'm wondering how you go about training people on your staff to do research. We have a big push to do a lot more research, and so just wondering, how do you kind of build up some level of expertise within people outside of the research or marketing org?
I think it's just the tips and that they had it all set up on what we would do and how we would do it. There were some things that came up, closer to the event that Lada was experimental and tried, such as concept boards. For me, that was really fun because when the customers got to the conference, they were a little reluctant at first, but then they got engaged. It was fun for them, and they looked for those boards, and so they really want to find out. They really want to share their perspective, and so I don't know.
When I started at Smartsheet, I was UX team of one, and so I was doing the whole UX process for a while until I could, So, you know, and I'm not a researcher, but the thing that helped me a lot was Steve Krug's book. What's it called? Rocket Surgery? Rocket Surgery, and it's just very practical, you know, how to run usability studies. And then there's just a lot of information on the different techniques and different methodologies, research methodologies that you can find online to, you know, it's not as good as what Lada and her team can do, but it's better than nothing, right? So there's just a lot of rich information on online.
One of the answers of my approach is actually in my presentation itself, and it's learning by doing. Because when we do those cross-functional knowledge mining workshops, I get people in the room, and I make sure that I reserve time saying, okay guys, now for those of you who are interested in what's under the hood, what have you noticed? Notice how we structure the session. So we use this because of this. This is, I'm almost like walking them, reflecting back. This is what we did, how we did it, and this is why we did what we did, how we did it, or how we did what we did, why we did it, right? So literally kind of showing them, you've just went through that experience, you now understand what the experience is about. Let me put in kind of slightly more intellectual, reflective layer on that. And continuously, literally, last week I ran a workshop with our customer success teams. And we did multiple categorization exercises that I really love doing. It's a very quick way of getting in the depths of a particular subject very quickly. Is we did that exercise with them, and then again I reserved 10 minutes, like reflect on what you just went through. And by the way, there are 5 different contexts in which you can use that very simple exercise with your customers. You can do this, you can use the exact same exercise in a different context, you can do this, and this is the value of this here, there, and there. But because they already went through it as participants, as a team, the audience themselves, they understand how. And that's for me preferred approach, to put them through something first, right? Because they understand the whole context of it, they understand everything else, rather than train them theoretically in theory how we do. It was also really interesting because once you start doing those things around the company, and not just knowledge mining workshops, we discovered, because we are a business tool, a pretty generic business tool for lots of people across lots of functions, whether it's marketing, finance, or IT, or project management, that why would we go and necessarily test everything with our customers? Because we have our own, yes, IT, HR, marketing, finance people. So how about we engage them? And they're not part of the product team, so they're not necessarily know the latest and greatest. And they're not necessarily always the super users, because when you have new employees, they're not super users of your product, right? Let's do the first round of testing with them. They're excited. I have my directors of finance and accounting finding times, even in a busy time of the year. Yeah, I can do it. Because for them it's creative. I don't have the video of this guy, but Will Pearl, he is our director of finance. We invited him to test our charts and graphs we were shipping, and guess what? Finance people are no charts and graphs. And he loved it so much, and he said back in the session, like, can you please invite me again another time? I was like, why? And he said, because of my job is pretty boring, I'm dealing with numbers, and when I have to create charts for my CFO, for our CFO, it's actually my creative time. And his charts were awesome. He had charts I've never seen before, and really informative. He's good. This is how I express my creativity in the creating charts that are really, that tell the story. And we started talking about storytelling. And he, finance person who we think is a number cruncher, he actually is a storyteller. He tries to tell a particular story through different means, right? And just that, and he knows how to do research, and I'm pretty sure that if he wants to participate in concept testing right now in front of customers, I'm gonna put him, because will you remember what I did to you? Yes, remember in your head? Yeah.
I kind of have a macro question. So my name's Grant Wessel. I'm one of the co-founders of Factor. We're an information architecture consulting firm here in Seattle, and we do a lot of user research with our customers like Adobe and Intel and some others. And what I'm curious about is zooming way out. This is one of the more impressive examples of grassroots acculturation of research that I've really seen in any organization. To be able to go directly to customers, to have events around doing user research with customers, to expose your engineering team to customers, that seems like something that you need support from the top to be able to do. That seems like something that a lot of companies are going to feel super risk averse about, that level of exposure directly to customers. Is that something that kind of came from the grassroots, or did that come from the top? And if it did come from the grassroots, how did you get people at the very top to buy into that?
So for a long time, for about a year prior to the first customer conference, I had been evangelizing about the need for a redesign. And thanks. And my CEO knew, that the customer conference was coming up, and he was asking me, well, how can you prove the economic impact of this redesign? And I'm like, shit, I don't know how to prove that, but I said, give me a booth. Give me a booth at the, and I will do lots of research, at the customer conference, and I will get you lots of feedback. And because that was the big concern was, would it rock the boat with existing users? And we knew it would improve the first impression with new users, but would existing users be upset? And so he agreed, and then Lada started, and I said, I need one booth. I need one booth. I need you to work with the, the people who were putting on the event. And she delivered in spades and got me booths. And so, and like you said, 550 sessions. We had, I think there were 4 computer stations. So for interactive prototypes, and then all of the different whiteboards and various things. And so I'm a big believer in showing, not telling. So I got the buy-in for the one booth, and it just was such a huge success that it's just a non-brainer, and now we're in. So our customer conference is coming up in 6 weeks, I think. So we're doing it again.
It's 4 weeks.
4.
And to the point is, again, yes, grassroots, completely grassroots. Ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Yeah.
I beg for forgiveness. That's my life, the story of my life. I beg for forgiveness, not just ask for it because I just go and do stuff. And wait for some notice, not notice, because what happens is we started small. And actually the idea came from purely practical idea that I had small team, and it was difficult to find times to present our research result even to our own internal team. I was like, well, how about we do KEYNOTEs? How about we have an hour blocked every week with 5 researchers in the team? There should be something to present, okay? Something to present. I don't care what we present, just block an hour a week. And then we block and started doing for a couple of weeks, and like, well, someone else needs to be in the room. Someone else needs to be in the room. Someone else needs to be in the room. And before, like, well, let's book the biggest room we have because there's something to present every week across the company. Someone knows about the customers. And interestingly enough, we kind of, because of lunchtime, that's where people have free time most of all, right? There's also food is lunch, is social, they can do more informal because it's part of it, it's not a formal presentation, formal discussion. And so the first few months we're providing lunch because again, can we find budget to have 40 sandwiches a week, please? We found budget. Then, interestingly enough, the way the CFO discovered our sessions. Because end of year we're planning for next budget, I put X amount of money towards that. Start providing sandwiches for the lunch. And like, what's that budget, Aaron? I'm like, that's for our customer insight sessions. What are those? I was like, well, that's where the whole company gets together. Why am I not invited? He's like, why? I was like, well, your people are coming. You mean like my people are coming? Like, yeah, here and here, the culture people are waiting for. She showed up the next week, right? And she showed up the next week, and she had her laptop open, and she was typing, and I was like, rolling my eyes, like, okay, she's a busy person, she can work. But she was actually typing live an email to our SVP of product and CEO saying, you guys need to be here. This is what I'm learning from this session. CEO showed up next week. and a few more times, right? So it's kind of when they see start quiet, get you people around you writing, know that it's in it, put down, and they love it, and then when someone comes in, oh, it's already happening, see, people love it, it's already happening, do you want to fight that fight? Because it's not with me, it's with us. The moment you start having us, and they become part of us, sometimes.
And I will just say, the momentum from having those things and getting people involved helped, but it was also our first conference, and I mean, a lot of companies' first conference, it's a really good conference if you have 200 or 300 people, and we set our goal for 1,000, we didn't know how that was gonna be, so pretty much the whole company was rallied behind trying to make this a success, and trying to figure out what is it that we can do as individuals.
And I'm gonna wrap up, like, it's not all rosy, because now that the company went public, we have to legitimately watch what we say and what we share even within the company. But we still have that, yes, there are boundaries. There are no legitimate boundaries. What can we do within those boundaries? We can clean up our language, we can sanitize things that we're presenting, we can not talk about this particular subject still. Whatever is confidential to the company can be shared.